Unit 4, Part 8. Let's move on to the section on conditionals, in Section 3 of Unit 4. Conditionals are very tricky because there are quite a number of English phrases which do receive translation as the hook. Also, there's many phrases which you might think get translated with the hook which don't. After this section comes the one in the biconditional. A lot of people confuse the biconditional and the conditional, right? The biconditional is if and only if. Another expression for the biconditional is just in case. It's really the main one. That also gets a triple bar. That is the symbol for the biconditional. Only if, the phrase only if is a special form of conclusion. It does get the hook, right? So it does express a conditional, but it reverses the antecedent and consequent. I'll say that again, but the first real lesson, the first important thing to note about the conditional, when you're translating it from English into symbols, and a conditional is going to be used, the crucial thing about the first crucial thing about conditionals is, the first big lesson is that the typographic order, the order in which sentences appear in English, the order in which they appear, the typographical order does not equal the logical order, right? It's not always the same as the order in which the sentences or their abbreviations will appear in the symbolization, okay? So here's an example to show that. Here's a sentence, if it's true, then it's a big deal, right? So the rule that you'll want to take home is the maxim, the dictum, whatever follows the word if in English, that is going to be the antecedent, where, I mean by antecedent is, of course, you've got a hook, whatever, the antecedent is what goes to the left of the hook, and the consequent goes to the right. Here, the antecedent in this sentence, if it's true, then it's a big deal. T equals it's true, B equals it's a big deal. Here, the antecedent does come first, so this is T hook B, right, is the correct symbolization of that sentence. But how do the kids talk on the internet? They don't talk like this. They say, what do they say? They say big if true, right?
See how hip I am?
Right. Big if true, right? That is the same sentence, right? It's logically equivalent to the first sentence, has the same logical meaning. But see that the antecedent and the consequent appear in a different order, right? This is where the application of the rule, whatever sentence, whatever expression follows the if in the English sentence, wherever it follows in the English sentence, whatever follows the if is the antecedent. That is the thing that will go to the left of the hook in the symbolization. So big if true, B equals, it's a big deal. T is it's true. Big if true, you would be correct to identify the major operator as a hook. Right? The first symbolization, right? Okay, three-step procedure. The three-step procedure for symbolizing is identify and pick out the simple sentences, abbreviate them. So big, here this means B equals it's big. If, I'm leaving the English word if there. T, it's true. B if T, but what follows the if, it's B if T. B comes first in the typographical order, but in the logical order, it's going to be reversed. What follows the if, that's the T, goes here. T hook B, right? So here's an example where you see that the typographic order is not the same as the logical order. Right? In the logical order, it's T hook B, T precedes B, but the typographical order, B if T. Another example of the same thing, I might say, if Dan is teaching, then he is happy. Right? If Dan is teaching, then he is happy. Okay? But I could also say the same sentence, I'm saying the same thing, the same logical force by saying, Dan is happy if he's teaching. I've said the sentence Dan is happy first, and then I've said the sentence Dan is teaching, right? But nonetheless, the logical force is still this, right? Because what follows the if is going to be the antecedent for conditional, so it's the same as this, right? T, hook, F, Dan is teaching. If Dan is teaching, then Dan is happy, okay? So you notice that these are the same, and also, as you want it to be, these are the same, precisely because big if true is exactly the same sentence, has the same logical form as if it's true, then it's a big deal, okay? So that's the rule. That's especially important rule to keep in mind when you're doing big, long, complex sentences, right? So when we're doing translations of sentences that have many, many parts with lots of complexity, if you identify a sentence that goes blah, 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 comma, if blah, 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 right? What do? You, step one, identify and abbreviate the simple sentences. Step two, identify the major operator, put it in place, and put the components in the right place. That is, put the antecedent here, if it's a conditional, put the antecedent and consequent in the right place. So it'll be bloody, 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 blah, hook, sorry, bloody, 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 blah, if, you put the hook down first, put the major operator down first, and then everything that followed the if, so it's bloody, bloody, blah, hook, you put the part here, right? And the bloody, bloody, blah part, which started the sentence, will go over there, because it is actually the consequent, right? And that both sides of that might itself be complex, might be lots of conjunctions and disjunctions and hooks in them themselves. But that's why you put the major operator down first, put the two parts in their right place, right? And that's why it's important. That's another reason why it's important to follow that three-step procedure. Identify the simple sentences and abbreviate them. Pick out the major operator and symbolize that first, putting the components in their place. If you hadn't done that, and if you just read the typographical order and thought, oh, it says blah, and blah, or blah, but then it says if, and then some other stuff, and now I just put a hook down, and now I keep going, well, you're completely wrong, because all the stuff you've already written down before the if should have been on the other side of the hook, because it is in fact the consequent. Okay? All right. For if, some words which simply gets translated as if, remember, you'll be in exam and you won't have enough time to read through the book and do it, so you have to not only recognize that these words are words that get symbols, but know that these are simply the hook, right? Words like provided that, right? If I say A, provided that B, it means A if B. Provided means if. Well, it's logical force of if, right? So A provided B is B hook A, okay? Also, given that, right? A given that B, it's just if, right? And so on. Okay, let's talk a bit about only if. Excuse me. Only if the rule. Okay, so compare. I'll do it in the next part.